And
Seems like it's, hey, how are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And I don't hear any feedback. How about on your
No,
end?
it's working good now.
All right, we're good. I'm gonna leave you and then join you.
Yes.
Whatever you did, do that next time.
I think this is it for here.
In both those boxes.
Hey, how you doing?
Finish up.
And it's-
Where's Don?
Forward
Chasing,
reading the-
Don's chasing more storms in
I
Florida.
know, right?
Yeah, Don.
They're getting hit week after
I
week.
printed that, so you can keep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Saw a bunch of hotels falling in the ocean on the news.
Yeah, and houses, I did the same thing.
Checking on
No.
the
No, Or they wouldn't.
Okay. Just,
I mean, they can watch.
yeah, of course.
But
It's
they're not allowed
public,
to
but
speak, so.
I
In
just-
the audience of citizens, they say something.
John's coming first.
I don't think anybody else is coming. Hey,
Well, no Bart, no
No,
Jim.
Bart
I don't know
is gonna,
Tom's-
Bart's gonna try to do it by phone, Jim's gonna do it by phone. Don's gonna pass, he's working. Who's that? Oh, Tom
Tom
Salamino.
Salamino.
I don't
He's
know.
been,
He does it by
he's
phone.
been videoing
He
it
has
lately.
been, he has been. It's recorded for us, so we used it. That's all I can know. I think it's. You recorded it? Yes.
I didn't have a chance to look at those estimates. He must have just.
I printed them.
Oh, you did? I
Yeah,
didn't. I just saw the email.
I
I
saw
didn't-
I saw the totals, but
I saw the total, but I didn't see. I didn't actually read through them.
I didn't get a chance to look at it, either. I printed it, and took a look at it.
Good night.
Wasn't anything that was curveball out of the ordinary, so I didn't focus on it.
Yeah.
It pretty much came in.
This
It's
is,
not like eating dessert before.
it is. You don't have to sign it, I just want to make sure you don't lose it. And I don't know if you've gotten this in the mail yet, to say that you have to please strongly urge getting the meeting dates submitted,
Was it mailed to my house?
I guess.
I did not get it yet.
Right.
Okay, well, let me see it.
So I have
I sent the
sent
meeting dates.
everybody via email, so they would have it.
Okay, we do this every, same crap every year.
Those are my proposed dates.
Are they all Thursdays?
Yes,
Okay.
the real calendar. behind it.
Yeah, this looks good.
So you'll just put that under new business and just.
1, 2, yeah, yep.
make a motion.
Except you got the first one wrong.
Ooh.
It says January 12th, that's a Friday. You circled it, it's in purple.
Friday?
Oh, no, it is January 12th. What am I looking at?
Oh.
Oh, I know what, I'm looking at January.
Talk to Tiger.
Okay, I stand corrected. I was wrong. Mike and I were talking about, I've been right once in my life, according to my wife. I have a little yellow sticky
Yeah.
rotating the
Once
date.
I was,
Only once.
And
once I
witnesses.
thought I
Frame
was
it.
wrong, but I was. mistaken.
Laminate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken.
I don't like this.
What? I thought I was wrong, but what?
But I was mistaken.
My kids just keep track of it on their phone, along with anything that they perceive stupid that I say.
When you're right or when you're wrong?
When I'm wrong, they have a long
Oh,
list.
so they have a second foe, right?
Yeah.
They used up all their storage.
They have an external hard drive? Tom didn't take that. He seems
I'm
like-
sorry, I didn't hear that. I was,
Oh, okay.
Okay, Jim texted. me,
yeah, I just saw that too. Sorry.
So that's okay.
And Don is also,
Don's in,
Fort Myers, hunker down,
He's saving Florida.
saving the world. He could be from, one of the CM firms. Tom R.
Sola.
No, Tom R. That's not
Oh,
you.
oh, yeah,
You didn't join from home and then leave your computer on and come here, did you?
That's Downs.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's from
Oh, okay, Tom, right.
My clock at 6:59.
okay.
All right, call the meeting to order. First order of business is the approval of the minutes from October 13th. I'll do the separate special meeting minutes separately. So I need from the regular meeting, October 13th, need an approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have a quorum? Yeah, we do. Because Tom's on the phone. Okay.
Yep.
And now approval of the minutes from the special meeting on October 25th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda, audience of citizens. I don't see any pictures there except for us. So Doug and Tom, are you guys on the phone?
Yes, we're here.
Okay. Who's that, Doug?
Yes, good evening, everybody. How are you?
Okay.
Hey, Doug.
All right. Expansion and renovation of police locker room facilities.
This will be
Update.
short and sweet,
Okay.
okay? You signed the agreement on the 17th of October, Jakuski Humes. We later followed up with a notice of award on the 18th. We sent them a PO. So Brian Humes is proceeding, and I think their first meeting was on the 31st with Drew down in the PD.
Okay.
So that was on existing conditions. Another related topic was,
And they don't need us for that. They're going.
yeah, they're going. But just so you're aware, the both the Board of Ed and the town hall departments have to get their stuff out of there. So they're getting these rather expensive scanning proposals to scan all the stuff that's down there. So they want to coordinate with Brian on his timing just so they can get all their stuff out in time for whatever's going to happen. So
So they want to scan all the paperwork so they don't have.
well, there's boxes and boxes of Board of Ed files and records, as well as we have 50, whatever. So it doesn't relate to the PBC,
Yeah, no.
but just to let you know, so Brian has been made aware that they want to coordinate to make sure that, number one, they know where the space is going to be used, and number two, the timing. So,
So not only are they going to scan it, so they're going to have a scanned copy of all this stuff.
right.
They're also going to keep.
That is not my department. So
I'll bet you a year's pay.
maybe
which is
they,
in that cabinet back there.
yeah,
But they will keep all that in any event.
Yeah.
Whatever
but it
Joe
will
says.
have to be relocated out of that area. So
well,
So they
at
can
least they're,
Scan
at
it
least they're not
wherever.
asking us to pay for the scanning.
no. That's from that's to be determined. So
So that means in the future, yeah, okay.
Yeah, scanner's
You
going
know
to be a
that.
couple $100
Yeah.
grand.
It's a lot of
Okay.
money.
They could easily move the boxes and scan them from the new place.
Yeah.
Keep the scanners wherever they're going to put them if the town's got to reuse scanners. Just something that you might be able to suggest to somebody as an appropriate use of town resources and funds, rather than scan it and then move it. Put where it's going to be, move the boxes there. That way it gets emptied quicker.
Yeah.
Having done that
you
with
have,
massive banks, yes.
yeah.
And learned all the mistakes on what to do and what not to do. Touch it once.
That's it.
Plan.
Right.
Touch it once.
Got it. I'll pass it along because I think Kevin Delaney is leading the charge.
Yeah, because somebody's going to reuse the scanners. No, ridiculous to buy a scanner just for this.
No, I think this is an outside company that takes them and does it all. They'll touch it once.
Yeah. Scan it,
then-
move it, or move it, scan it, all
Yeah.
in one shot.
There was another interesting proposal that I heard about. You can get stuff, you can warehouse it, they'll index it, and then if you ever need it, you know it's in the box. You can have them scan a box, then they destroy it, and then it's all digital.
Okay.
So it's almost like, but that wasn't, I don't think that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But it was like, so if you don't need this stuff right away, but you have it all cataloged, you can call them up and say, oh yeah, I need like box 14, scan it all, send it to us, however, and then destroy it. Or you want it, you could just keep it, you know? Yeah. So
Well, the
anyway,
good news is, we want no part.
that's right. Well, I'm just letting you know what's
Yeah,
going on,
okay.
that's all. So
I
stuff
mean,
flying
that,
around.
yeah, that has to be done.
So he's on his way, he's been authorized, executed, the PO's issued, the money was approved and all that, so, it's underway.
Good.
I didn't see this, but what's the time frame for his completion?
I thought it was between 4 and 6 months
Okay.
that he had said,
All right, so we're
Um,
looking early next year to have
yeah.
it basically done.
yeah.
Well, maybe,
I was
Yeah,
thinking
spring,
yeah,
spring
spring.
2023 is
in
in
my
there,
mind for our schedule.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's where that stands. That's it.
Okay. Board of Ed, elementary schools HVAC upgrades update.
Well, we could talk about the construction management.
Let's
firm.
talk about that first.
So Tom came in, we put together this ranking matrix, which was sent out to you folks. So basically it's ranking by number one was the first position for each of these factors. Number two is second ranked. And so I guess everyone's gonna, well, you
Yeah,
can.
basically, for you guys who haven't done this before, everybody that comes in on this, just so in case somebody wants to see this, 100 years from now, how did you come up with that decision? We have a series of factors that we thought were important. And this is very similar to similar projects that we've done in the past. In fact, it almost mirrors the one we did for McGee, just changed the wording a little bit. Except for McGee had a number of bidders. Here there's two. So there's no point in having a big, 100-point scale if people were putting in 25 and 17 and a half and all that sort of stuff in it. Too confusing. Here, which did you like best? Which did you not like best? Some of it is hard and fast, like numbers. Other, it's your impression of certain things. So we just, since everybody is spread all over, these were emailed to everybody. So if we don't want to handle this, we can fill them out tonight. You can fill one out too if you're interested, if you want to do it. And I'll ask Lisa to be the coordinator and the collector for all these. And for the guys on the phone and for the guys who aren't here, we'll just send them an email to ask them to send this back in at their convenience. It's not, I'd like to do it, within the next few days. It's not critical that we have to do it tonight, but at least we want to get off to a good start. But we'll have at least send out a reminder for those of you who are late in getting them back in. I'll sick Lisa on you. Having been in that position before, it's not a position you want. I'll make Lisa the bad guy. So, just real quickly, if you haven't read this, it's the categories or similar experience with the town of Berlin projects, knowledge of state education process and regulations, proposed staffing and availability, CM experience, clarity of each individual presentation, the proposed pricing, and then the proposed pricing if it's extended to because each proposal had a different time frame. If we standardize it to proposed pricing, easy for me to say, proposed pricing for a 24-month period, and then on the, just so we'll fill it in, based on their submissions, based on Don's work, we can fill in, I'll go over the numbers tonight, the cost as proposed by each individual firm for their time frame. and then the cost over a 24-month period. Now, Don confirmed, he took apart and sent to everybody the individual sheets, and they corroborated with what we were, generally talking about last meeting. I've done a calculation based on 24 months, which I'll share with everybody later on. We can put them in here. And then the way I did it was a 1 for who you thought was better in the category, 2 for second best in the category, and then not applicable or available. I thought about that.
You could do NA if you want,
Yeah, I'd rather put NA,
Okay,
because what we want is, this is like golf, the lowest score is going to be an indicative performance. Now, could be we pick somebody with a higher score. I don't know why we would, but all things being equal, if there's one firm that has all 1s and one firm that has all 2s, we would choose the firm that has all 1s. Just as an example on how to fill it out. So, again, I'm not going to have you fill it out now, but I think if you want to stay around, do it at the end of the meeting after we get done, and give it to Lisa. We'll bring it back tomorrow, or do it at home, fill it out, and email it to Lisa. That's fine. I just want to make sure we get all 7 forms.
and I can, I think we sent the PDFs out. I can send out the Excel files. In fact, why don't I do that? For people who want to go into the Excel files and just put stuff in rather than handwriting and scanning, it's up to you guys.
Yeah.
But I'll send it so that everyone has the option.
Okay.
Okay?
But when so from a a rating standpoint, these are your impressions. I'm not going to influence you on the soft stuff. Your impression of experience, your impression of staffing, your impression of the clarity of the presentation, the pricing.
Could you just give them their copy so they can follow along at your?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
thought you had
oh,
one.
yeah.
Jeepers. Put that in.
I have one already.
Do you? Okay. So, yeah, since you guys are new, maybe it'll take a little bit more time. But basically, there's 2 firms, obviously, and then so similar experience with the town of Berlin, and you have not been here as long as some others, certainly not as long as I have. But I know Downs did a project. Downs did not do a project with us. No. But Newfield did. So Newfield does have prior experience with Downs, so that's the NA for Downs in that category would be appropriate. But knowledge of state education process, regulations, however you think each firm ranks, the proposed staffing and availability. So, or whatever in your mind you think is better based on the proposals. Experience as a CM, your impressions of either firm. Clarity of the presentations, your impressions. And then in terms of the pricing, let me go over this with what Don said, because there is a big disparity in pricing. And I know Downs tried to present a
What do you call it?
a leveling of pricing, which we cannot accept. That's absolutely something we cannot do. It's us that determines that based on the submissions that each individual firm made. So Don took this apart, used his company resources, plugged in everything, and using the 2 firms' submissions, just the numbers that the 2 firms put in. Downs had a 19-month construction period. Newfield had a 16-month construction period. Downs had
Oh, do you want his spreadsheet?
Yeah, the Don used to,
Oh, he did that?
yeah, but Don sent it to everybody, right? You
Yes,
guys got
yes, he
this.
did.
Yeah.
And
So I'm just gonna review, I don't need to go into detail, but essentially, I added up, Downs has in their staffing model, about 114 hours a week. That's a mixture of all of the people working on the job. Newfield had 52 and a half hours a week. They have less. Different mix of people, supervision, but nevertheless, it is what it is. That's what they submitted. Newfield submitted a 16-month period, Down submitted a 19-month duration contract. The cost for Downs was $1,107,709. The cost for Newfield, Don had it 409 here, but we have to add 316,000 for the general conditions because Newfield's general conditions were 19,800 a month. Were not calculated in that number.
Right.
Downs's general conditions were up until the individual period. So Downs had 53 in there for 19 months. So if you multiply the 16-month general conditions, it's an additional $316,800 for Newfield. So Newfield's number for their initial submission to complete the project within 16 months be $726,225. Downs would be $1,107,709 with 3 additional months. If we level it off for 24 months, using the submissions that they gave us, there's a little bit of a factor in here for hours that it's almost impossible to go at, but be that as it may, at a minimum, Downs would have an additional $267,690 for a total of $1,375,399 over a hypothetical 24-month period. In other words, stuff happens. Always happen. And Newfield would have, Newfield's cost would increase from $726,225 to $884,625. So in either way, Newfield is less expensive than Downs, and mostly because of the amount of hours and supervision that Newfield submitted versus Downs. But also, we asked for a CM advisor, and that's what we got from Newfield, was CM as an advisor. That's what we got when we used them at McGee, which worked very well. Their hours were fine, issues were fine. There was more than adequate personnel to handle every curveball we had at McGee. In my opinion, they did a very good job. Downs, again, based on their presentation, and asked both of them to come in, was a little bit more than a CM. They were a little bit more like almost a CM at risk, sort of a hybrid. So we asked for a CM as advisor. We had that long discussion about what these projects entailed and did we want somebody at risk, and we essentially said, no, we are very content with a CM as advisor. So in your numbers, I will email to everybody tomorrow that as presented and the 24-month period, so you guys can fill them in on your sheets.
Can I just say something in terms of filling out the 0, 1, or 2?
Yes.
Because we're ranking 1 and 2, and we're going to total them. We really can't use 0 or NA because
I know. After I did this,
Okay.
so don't use it.
Yeah.
So if it is NA, if it's not applicable, then I think you, in your mind, look, for instance, the similar experience with the town of Berlin. Well, Downs has it, or Newfield has it, Downs does not.
So I think
So
it'd be,
Downs can't get any points for that, Newfield can. So I would,
So it's either NA for both.
it's
or
either
it's a
NA
one
for
and a
both,
two.
or you'd have one for Newfield and two for Downs.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
I'm just thinking it would be, to keep it consistent, you would want to almost each column have to assign a 1 or a 2 if the
Yeah.
winner is going to be the lowest total number.
No, you're right.
That's
So
what
the
I'm saying.
zero,
Yeah,
scratch
once
that, yeah.
Well, just in the
It's-
past that we've used.
I figured that out already, but I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
say
I'm
it.
sorry.
So,
Yeah.
so it's either, every category has to have a 1 or a 2, and if it's not applicable, for some reason, if a firm didn't make the cut there, then it would default to a 2.
Correct. Yep. All right. I just want to clarify that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Why they pay you the big bucks, your
Yeah,
paycheck's
yeah,
next
yeah,
month.
yeah, yeah. I'll shut up now.
That's okay, that's okay.
I'll take my nap.
Just make sure you land a plane. Okay, any questions on that aspect of it?
the only thing I think that you might be missing from Newfield is the insurance add-on. But I
Yeah,
think it
but it
adds,
was-
like, it's like 50 grand or something,
was-
it-
yes.
you know, something in that was, I think it was 45, it might have been 60, but
Actually, it was, hold on,
it was
I'll
7.
point that out, Don, because Don did mention that.
Oh,
too.
he did?
Yes, in his memo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, on his memo, yeah. On his cover sheet.
Yeah. Maybe in his email to me.
Yeah, I did a quick cut and it wasn't like 100,000, it was.
No.
Oh, yeah, GL and PL insurance, $7.50 per $1,000 of coverage.
Right.
So if you go through their coverages, I think it comes into, it's in the 50 to
Yeah.
60 range.
Right. Not enough to offset the
The differential.
substantial difference between, as submitted for evened out over a hypothetical 24-month period. But we'll put that out to you, so, just so you have it, if you haven't done this already, so. That's all I have for that, unless there's any questions. We can go on to.
When do we want to get the sheets back to Lisa? I mean, Mike, you're gonna send out the live
Lisa
Excel
will
sheet?
tell you, Lisa will tell you tomorrow by 8:45, but as soon as you can.
Okay.
You know, it's not gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It should be relatively quick, so, yeah. I'd like to get them in by next week, because we want to make a determination as to who we
Yeah.
choose.
No, that works.
So the sooner we get them all back, the sooner we can choose. But since we have 2 people missing tonight, it's tough to vote and choose, so.
All right, thank you.
I'd like them to have, you know, they came to the meetings, they listened, they participate. On votes like this, I don't like to do it just with a quorum. Jim didn't do it just with a quorum. We had everybody's input. Makes me feel like they're.
Well, and everybody was involved in listening to the presentation, so everybody did participate, and they all have a good understanding of what's going on, particularly Jim and Don.
Vote and excluded somebody, they may have a very good opinion or something that we missed or didn't think about, so.
Well, speaking of that, I do think that probably won't be submitted.
Right, it would be
Yes.
better for you to abstain.
Yes, so you can't exclude me.
Beat him to the punch?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Nice. Proactive,
So
preemptive.
preemptive.
Yeah, that's a better term for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we already knew that, took it for granted,
Yeah,
but just
that's
for the
okay.
record.
Yeah, actually, that
Rocco's
is, yes,
going to
it's in the
abstain.
minutes,
Yeah,
too.
it was in the
Yeah.
minutes.
So,
Good point.
no problem.
All right,
Okay,
so we got some.
we
news
have
from-
some news, and I literally thought I was losing my mind earlier today, because what happened is well, first of all, let's go back to what was authorized. Keys Group was authorized to do the cost estimate for Willard.
Yes.
They sent it Monday. I never sent it to you guys until today. That's the flurry I got going on. So anyway, their cost estimate for Willard is a little over $3 million.
Okay.
Then I get a cost estimate from AM Fogarty today as well, which I forwarded to you before the Keys one went out.
Right. Because I didn't
And-
get the Keys one. I didn't
Yeah.
check my computer.
Well, you did. That just
I
came.
did- I got these two.
Yeah, because I didn't realize two firms did the estimate for Willard.
Yeah, I looked at that. I went. oh, we already
And what
had these.
happened, and so Lisa explaining stuff to me about the minutes and the Keys Group, and I'm like, wait, Fogarty just sent us the cost estimate.
Yeah.
So what happened was Jason at Fogarty took an email where I said, yes, we're gonna take your number without a proposal as a yes, proceed. He never sent a proposal.
Okay.
He never, so in not sending a proposal, we never signed anything and sent it back to him. We never said go, and we never gave him a PO. And I didn't hear from him until today when he sent the proposal in, and then he volunteered to update Hubbard's, right? Voluntarily,
Yeah.
because he got more information on the chiller price. So right now Keys has done their job, was authorized to have his PO. Fogarty had no, and I looked back on my email like, you can look at it, but I said, yes, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, you could give me just a line in an email for your number. And he took that to mean, yes, thanks, go ahead. So, and I sent the email with you, so you can make your own determination, however. So what we have is an unintentional bonus round here.
Just gonna say.
Yeah.
The law of unintended
So,
consequences. We have a much
getting to
better-
the numbers, putting aside the contractual
Right.
decisions that we have to make and whatever. Fogarty's number for Willard was 3.7 million. Keys was 3. So we have a significant, now we have two proposals, so we can sort of
we can
look at
chew
them.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let Jim go through that and he'll, get his red pen out. Or Jason. Yeah. Right. And then
Mr. Chiller here.
Hubbard is now up to 3.3 million, and this comes in both of these come in handy for the Board of Ed's proposed grant applications for the HVAC program,
Yes.
which you've been monitoring on the news.
Right.
So this is actually going to be helpful because the Board of Ed can use this versus the
Apply.
one that was done in April and May.
Right.
What
So-
were the numbers back then? They were a lot less, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I think this was under.
2.5.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
it went up like $1 million.
Yeah, well, I think what Jason said is he did. I talked to him today. He's like, yeah, we did a lot of more research because he was talking to me this morning. And like, I'm trying to get these to you. I still didn't realize there were two firms. So he's like, well, we did a lot more research on the market and got some more real-time data from bids on especially on the chillers. So that's maybe where the bump is. So I think he has actually more, I guess, updated information. So that's where that stands. So now the Board of Ed can choose whichever Willard proposal or estimate they want. Hubbard, you have a better number than the previous one because it's dated today.
Today, right.
So this could be used.
But even still, it's only as good as the paper it's printed on.
I know.
It's just a number and it's just somebody's opinion. It's
Right.
like a real estate appraisal.
Right.
So it's good for today.
And you guys have not reviewed any of this.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I think they're flying around. So I'm going to just caution, Doug, just tell everyone who's getting these estimates that they have not been reviewed and accepted by the PBC yet, just so they understand, all right?
One thing I want to toss out there, even though
Yes,
there
Tom.
may have been miscommunication relative to the estimate that was created, if we make any use of that estimate in any way, shape, form, or otherwise,
Right.
we may have an obligation to pay something for that.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're taking advantage of the situation.
I
I'm
know.
not a legal guy by any means, but some
Well,
could find that problematic.
From my experience dealing with a bank, we can take advantage of that all we want since there's no contract and they did it of their own volition. There's nothing signed. We didn't agree to anything. If there's no PO, However, in the spirit of fairness, if we use it, it's not a big number, and my
Right.
inclination
Yeah.
would be
No,
pay
that's,
them, because it's, you know, in a multi-million dollar job, $3,000 is, it's nothing. Especially since it helps us make a decision in the beginning. So, I would just, look, and he voluntarily did the other one.
I know.
So let's,
What
so we're-
consultant does that?
Say we're paying for this one.
right, so we can go back to it and say,
yeah,
so we'll just make it, we'll cut it, you know.
Yeah.
We'll negotiate.
Just one,
also,
and on that note, and Tom, you can, I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead.
I was gonna say, arguably, once he's got the numbers built and he makes a change, it's not a big lift to make the changes. If he's just escalating them based on another bit or couple bits of information.
Right.
Or if he's just inputting a piece or two. It's not the big lift versus doing the entire estimate,
Right.
but
And
it's
that's why-
helpful, damn helpful.
Absolutely, and it's direct and it's relevant, and I think the Board of Ed would like to use the more updated number, especially since it's, you know, higher and reflects the market. So
Right.
I think that this Hubbard especially will come in handy, and then they can, I mean, if we're gonna pay, we're getting both. So they'll have Willard to, and then we can look between the two and figure out where the
Right,
discrepancy
there
is.
might be some, we might figure something out.
Yeah,
We'll,
so if you recall.
I don't know that I could do it, but I'm sure Jason can.
Yeah. So-
No pressure.
For the,
I know, we're gonna have to do some kind of motion, right?
we have to backstep and do what you did electronically
Oh, for the
for
keys
the
group
minutes, for the
first.
keys group.
Yeah.
And I have, for the record, that Tom Reed made the motion to accept keys group proposal,
Because I wasn't chair of that meeting.
and second by Rocco,
Right.
and then Jason voted yes. And Bart Bovee voted yes, and Jim Willett voted yes.
And Tom Salamino was silent.
Okay,
Well, we woke you up, but it's too
so,
late.
and that was all
Electronic.
electronic
Right.
and is now going to be in the minutes, reflected in the minutes. It needed to be.
Mhm.
Our finance department, in order to issue a purchase order,
Okay, needs
always.
to see it in the minutes. Okay. So you could just recount
So,
that, said it was done
that's-
electronically, now it's in the minute, reflect that in tonight's minutes.
That's right.
And
okay, y'all are,
Okay,
All right,
that takes care of keys group.
okay.
If you recall, Keys was at 3,000 and Fogarty was at 3,300, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I could do is go back to Fogarty and say, Jason, you went on the basis of just this 3 line in an email. You never got a PO, you never sent me a proposal, we never signed and sent the proposal back. So you really didn't get a notice to proceed. I could have them match the 3,000 if you want to do that. If you want to just accept the original 3,300, it's up to you.
I'm fair with the 3,000. I think
3,000?
he'll take it.
Okay, I think it will, and I'll explain the whole
And
thing.
just say, look, you put us in a little bit of a box.
Yeah, and when Lisa went through this, and I'm like, did I literally issue 2 POs and then, or in some way, get 2 firms going? But what happened was, after that email on the 17th, he never got back to me with anything. Scott from Keys Group did say, oh, the drawings and all this. He never popped up until today when he gave us the product.
So he just did the
You know,
Just started doing it.
so
I'm gonna
I
be
think what
honest.
happened was, I don't think there was senior level involved. I think he's younger and maybe he just maybe he's used to informal, like from CMs or contractors, say, hey, just go ahead and do it, I'll pay you, I don't know. But
I was confused because I thought we approved keys. And
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
I saw those quick and printed them and
Rocco,
brought them, and
I
I
had
was
a
like,
panic
thinking about
attack. My
Yeah.
heart almost stopped. I'm like, what the hell did I
How
have?
did
Because
this happen?
I have a bunch of things going on right now that says a flurry, so I was like, did I completely lose my mind? So anyway.
I got those, and I said, I looked at them, and just to clear my mind, forgetting it, I said, let me go back to the minutes and see.
Yeah.
I thought we only did 1. So I went back and I said, not only that, it was Keys, and I made the motion. This is gonna be fun. at the meeting. So-
So I would be very careful in the future with emails and informal things, but really, I mean,
that's why
there's,
they don't like us. things electronic.
Yeah.
Well, but this was
Yeah.
really a misinterpretation, and my interpretation of his question to me was, are you okay with just the number and not the proposal? And I said, yes, thanks. I can run with, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I can run with the number, run it up the flagpole and see what happens. He took it as, yes, thanks, go the heck ahead. And I'm like, and I'm looking at, I actually printed out the email, and I'm looking at it going, who, maybe I was off, I don't know, but I did not say, go ahead. And he never confirmed the next day, hey, by the way, I just want to make sure you're okay. Which if you've been in business, we all have, you usually would like to follow up and say, just to confirm,
This is what we're doing.
we're going ahead, right? That kind of thing. But, and especially,
Are you making motion now?
well,
to-
that's the question, how do we deal with this procedurally?
I'm going to defer. I mean, hey, we don't have a bill from him yet,
No,
so there's nothing to act on. Right? I can't make a motion, we pay him.
I don't
well-
think he would make a bill until he got it.
well,
So here's what I'm gonna suggest. That we defer discussion until next meeting so that Don and Jim are here and they can hear what happened firsthand.
right.
And then we say, but in the meantime,
I can go back to
Chew on
them,
this.
explain to him what happened and his
alert Kevin
interpretation.
that we might have another PO for $3,000.
Yeah.
No, take it out of your beer money or something. So that, and then next week, next meeting, we will have a formal motion on what to do.
Okay.
And you might be able to feel them out and say, look, I'm stuck. I know you said this, you never got one, but the highest we can go is 3 and see what he says.
Yep. Oh, I have a feeling there'll be,
I bet you years pay,
There'll be
another
a-
year's pay.
Yeah.
And Rocco's
I thought
years pay,
the
we'll see.
whole
Yes.
point in the last minutes was to,
Whose point?
the commissioners to have numbers by tonight to meet the application deadline
Correct.
for BOE.
which is December, I think it's first, so it's the
You all
first or
were
second.
hot
Right.
to
Yes.
have something.
We wanted to have it
Well-
within the next few
well,
weeks.
the-
So we have them.
You have a,
We do
Will-
have it.
you have a Willard, we have a Willard estimate.
We have all. of them, right?
If we come
We don't
to,
have Griswold.
We'll accept.
So we have
this.
Griswold.
We're hot.
The old
yeah,
Lisa makes a good point. We want to get this going.
right.
The town will pay this. no
Well,
problem.
they're
We
already
wanna
flying
get-
around. These are
Sure.
already flying around. So,
So there's no question in my mind that we will pay this, but I want to formally explain to Jim and Don, who are not here at this meeting, what happened, so that we can, and then do it so that Lisa doesn't get in trouble in 2026 when somebody reviews the minutes, some auditor. Okay? Any,
So the question is what will we provide to the BOE for application? We have two now. And we need to do it
Well,
before
we
the
have
next
this
meeting.
one we should use,
Well,
right?
No, it's
At
Willard.
least so.
Is it Willard that they're?
But we
putting
have to
the
review
application
them, right?
for? So,
you could submit them. Tickle me.
actually, Doug's still here.
We could submit them, or send them out, but say they haven't been reviewed yet. Do we need to review and accept them so that the Board of Ed can get going?
I don't,
Or do they just need general numbers?
I know they, Doug can
Well,
speak
Doug
to
would
this.
know, he's doing that.
Yeah. I know from one meeting I was at, they have to be a third party, like professional cost estimator estimate, which is, these are.
Right.
So I don't know if you stamp them preliminary and send them in, and that way you could say that, well, the PBC hasn't.
Jim, thanks.
Not even an ice cube though? So what's the question now that,
If,
which one?
So it-
well, no, do we need to, I mean, we can circulate these and say they haven't been formally reviewed yet. Do we need to formally accept something to give to the Board of Ed so that they can get going and meet the December 5th deadline? Or can we just have what we have here and
And
use
they-
numbers and be confident that the numbers are correct?
Yeah, you can use what's officially been approved. It basically just gets uploaded into the application file, so we don't necessarily, the second one did go out tonight. I got that late with Mike, so the architect does have both. I don't think they uploaded it tonight, so I can just tell them don't use
Well,
it.
in any event, we have keys, which we've already approved, and we have a PO, and so we're good to go. We have confirmation from Fogarty that that keys number is in the ballpark for sure. Might be a little low, but, so I don't think we need,
Well, actually, I think at the last meeting too, you had recommended, PBC had recommended a 25% bump up on Griswold and Hubbard, those previous estimates.
right.
So I haven't gone through the numbers. If it matches this,
Because we thought the numbers were
25%.
too low.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it was also dated
Yeah.
as well. And you said,
And
you
we
know
didn't
what?
know when, yeah, could be a year
Right,
later.
right.
3 to 3.7 is 25%.
Oh, okay.
Good math.
Well, but Hubbard
For a
is
living.
um,
But yeah, so we're
probably in the
and that's what
ballpark.
I care about. As long as we're in that ballpark and we're not going to get hit with a flying curveball,
Yeah,
we're in good shape. So I think we have what Doug needs. And look, if you guys talk to the town and they need something more formal, we'll just have a special meeting or we'll do it electronically. Explain to Don and Jim, drive Lisa crazy, but you know what? She got to earn her pay sometime.
Just there have to be.
and I'll let you know how the discussions with Fogarty go.
Okay. I'm sure they'll go on, but
Oh, yeah.
let us know anyway.
Yeah, 300 bucks.
Oh, yeah, Mark's not here either, so there's 3 of us that are
Yeah.
really missing, and it's just, I hate doing stuff when 3 people are out. 1 is out, that's okay. 3 is done.
So Doug doesn't need a motion or anything to send that for you all to submit to the application.
Well, it's
Yeah, I mean-
premature anyway, because they haven't been reviewed at
Right.
all. So,
Doug can send it and say, but as long as he lets the Board of Ed know it has not been reviewed and accepted, but we have it. So there's a number here. And the number seems to be consistent because we have one from Keys, which we have an authorization for, and we have a PO for, and we're going to pay. I can defend that in a court of law, put it that way.
Yeah, we'll be good, Tom. All the application requires is a third-party estimate. You know, they don't need to know our internals and all that. So as long as something.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
yeah.
Just put the higher cost one in, we get more money back, right?
What do
The
you mean?
architect was gonna include basically a 30% contingency, owner, design, escalation, so all that's broken out in the grant application, so
Oh, okay.
if our, we're maxed out at our application anyway, as far as the local share, so this is more of formality at this point, just to meet the grant application criteria.
So we're at.
Oh, okay.
And then from that news article that someone sent out,
Yeah.
we're not going to get reimbursed on the money that we have sitting here now anyway.
Well, that was the approach anyway. That's why Kevin did the bond ordinance, right?
Right.
Correct, yeah,
4.0.
the A&E fees up to date is, we're not gonna try to get reimbursement on that, we're gonna look to get all the reimbursement on construction
Not on the design.
and commissioning and anything associated with the project that falls in the criteria. If you have to knock down a wall and redo the floor related to the project, that is reimbursable. Similar to the high school and other projects, it's what meets the criteria based on the way the grant is written.
And Mike had a good point. Everybody's wondering why they're doing it this way. Not a lot of time if you haven't been prepared. It could be that they're interested in seeing what's really out there and potentially real by all these people scrambling around. And if they only have towns that can meet these things to the tune of 150 million or 175 million dollars, then they know what they have. If they have 800 million, the towns have been working on stuff and there's 800 million, they gotta go back to having another problem. So it could be one of these feelers that just goes out there.
And that wasn't for me. It was from someone. I forget who said that. I don't know if it was Kevin or someone said that. It's almost, yeah, it's like a
maybe it was
test.
Kevin that said,
The
yeah.
school,
Yeah, yeah.
the grant program was put together to flush out who really has a project
Right.
versus who could put a flurry on and create one. You know, and
There's free
luckily,
money out there.
luckily for you guys, you had all the drawings ready and 2 estimates. We got another estimate, so actually, the Board of Ed can cherry pick and figure out which schools they want to put into the mix,
Right.
and you have drawings and specs. With Willow, you have a whole front end
Right.
and third-party cost estimates for all 3. I mean, as far as being prepared, it's pretty damn good, except, you know, you don't have the front ends for Griswold and Hubbard, but if I'm a grant reviewer, I'm like, wow, that's detailed stuff. I mean, it's like
Right.
full design, you go to bid almost, you know? So. Is that the feeling, Doug?
And
Correct.
Yeah.
We certainly have the upper hand on being eligible to qualify for reimbursement. But of course, a lot of
I
other.
don't think we get
lot of other
reimbursed for these schools, would we? We would, no way.
Are you doing a 2-school application or is it for, you're doing 3 separate applications? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it has to go, each school has to be a separate application, but I think from our meeting, the takeaway was that based on we can only, what we can contribute on our local share, I think the approach was we were gonna do Griswold and Hubbard and then use the money set aside for Willard to keep moving on that, because we don't have enough money. We have to be able to show that we can afford to bond the whole project entirely, which we can't do right now with our resolution of 4.9. Knowing if you look at these cost estimates, say 3.3 per school plus our other costs, that we don't have the current match to do all 3. So I think the intent was to use the ARPA money for Willard as originally intended, and then apply for Griswold and Hubbard for
Right.
And
Hey,
then your
Makes sense.
articles stated the ARPA money can't be
Can't be.
right now.
Well, that's right now.
Right,
right now.
yeah,
That,
Yeah.
what, if I read the tea leaves right, being in the States since 1994, all that means is, see how many complaints they get.
right.
Between now and whenever they make a decision, and how loud the complaints are, and who they're from. You know, if the complaints are from Ashton or someplace, nothing. Complaints are from New Canaan, somebody that is more active, those always get answered.
Yep.
So it could be, and then it also could be if the complaints are loudest from people whose cousin Louis is somewhere in the state, those things
of
go
course.
and naturally get to the top of the pile in this state.
And then Doug, you said something about shares. Is there a cap on what we can get in this grant program? Seems like you were indicating that. I missed that if somebody mentioned it, but
Well, he can explain about the referendum.
yeah.
Yeah, so the way the grant is, it's matching up to, I believe, 49 or 50%, but the way the grant is with the bond ordinance is we have to show that we can bond the entire cost of the project. So our current resolution of 4.9 is just under our charter threshold of 5 million, which would require a separate referendum, a local referendum.
Yeah.
So in the essence of time, based on the way this came out from the state, in order to meet our December 1st, we either have to have a resolution that we intend to hold the public referendum if we want to say bond 10 or 15 million to put all 3 schools in. But right now, our current resolution of 4.9 would only allow us to do 2 schools based on our third-party estimates. Let's say it's,
All right, so that's where the cap comes in.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
that makes sense. All right, just had to put 2 together.
No, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, yep.
So rough numbers, it's
How
about a
could we
10 million,
do-
for 10 million for
10 million for all
Griswold and
3,
Hubbard.
but because
No,
we're-
actually,
How could we do 2 with a cap like that?
because it's,
4.9.
well, that's saying that's the local match. So they're gonna go in with like a just under $10 million project. They have the bond ordinance for half of that. The state kicks in the other half. So you could do Griswold and Hubbard for 10. You already have the 5 for Willard. So even with the CM at $1 million and the construction at say 3.7, 4.7, you're right there.
And since it's gonna be a phased project, they could put that, something in the budget, doesn't have to be in year 1, it could
Right.
Three.
All
be
right,
over 3 or 4 years.
So that, in a way, the way it's working out is it's actually if the state said yes, you could do all 3 schools, assuming, well, the bond ordinance was already approved.
Correct.
So,
So you can
That's a good
commit to
deal.
all 3 schools, but then stagger them so
Yeah,
that you can pay for it.
Yeah. All right.
So,
And the caveat too, don't forget, is this is a competitive grant, so no matter what we submit, there's no guarantees that if we submit 3 or 2, we're gonna get considered for 2. They could
Right.
arbitrarily pick 1 school out of the 2, in which that would be reimbursable, and the other one we'd have to fund locally on our own, so. Very similar to the security vestibule project. That was a competitive security grant administered the same way that all 5 schools were applied for, but only 3 of them qualified for reimbursement. When the
well, in a
grant,
month, they'll know who's ready and who meets the criteria.
Right, depends on how many they get.
They may not get $150 million worth of stuff based on the criteria they're asking for.
right,
They may get more complaints, they may get
Well, you have to put all this in by December 1st. That's a lot to get,
A lot of
if you weren't
people-
ready for this.
Right.
A lot of people might put in stuff and say, you know what, I'm gonna give this, I'm gonna do this, and get on their knees and beg. You know, I don't know. I think that whoever said it, it's a good way to find out who's
Yeah.
ready and who's not.
Yeah.
So.
Alright.
We're ready at least, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I remember some of you guys in the meeting saying, in case this happens, we should be ready.
Yep.
And trying to get all the drawings ready, and they are, and it's, actually, it's like Nostradamus. You know, you guys can see the writing on the wall. So kudos. That's all I got.
Okay, well, that was enough.
I literally was like, questioning my sanity earlier.
Well, I
But
was
now there's a
questioning-
plethora of estimates. We just gotta figure out how to pay for these.
Don't
I
worry,
wish-
Mike, we've never questioned your sanity.
I have, because the truck wash isn't on.
Well, no, I just figured it's gone. It's not a matter of whether he's lost it or not. It's definitely lost it. It's a
It's
given.
working, right, Doug?
Okay, so anything else on the, Board of Ed and the HVAC upgrades? Nothing.
I don't think so.
Okay. Then new business, we'll start with, Lisa has, we have to comply with like January sometime with next year's 2023 meeting dates, so she's got a list here. You want to just email that to everybody, but basically
did.
it's, oh, you did, okay, good.
Right at, like Ahern does, 6:30,
I got a bad rep.
just
I
for the
think I have
record.
an extra copy somewhere.
You've got a good teacher, Lisa.
Oh, no, she doesn't.
They look fine to me, it's the same as in the
I
past
don't
couple
like
of years.
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday of every month, and
So we talked about last year
Don said something about,
adding additional meetings.
no, I think you said cut
August.
the meetings
We'll
in
cut
August.
Cut the meetings in
Yeah.
August, but even last year at this time, didn't we propose like a potential to open it up to additional special
Okay.
meetings?
We always will do that. Now,
Okay.
here's what I'm gonna say. I don't think we can cut, because I think if we get these things, we get the school programs on board and the police station, we're gonna need a meeting every month.
Minimum.
But I think the way Jacobski-Humes works, and I think the school in the beginning for this year, I don't think we really need, this is just my estimate, I don't think we'll need every month 2 meetings. We did for the high school. But that was an $85 million project. I don't think, and it was phased in, it was complicated. I understand that. I don't think that this is, I mean, we did McGee, we didn't really need 2 meetings a month. It was very organized. And if we do need them, we'll just add them. There's no extra cost to doing that.
It's a holding, it's a placeholder
Oh.
for the budget to pay me.
Oh, that's what we're doing this.
Once again, it's not about us, it's about Lisa.
So
What about Mike?
I would suggest add 4 special meetings for that benefit.
You
know,
want to
not
add a
12.
that's a good idea. One special meeting a quarter.
Yeah, so if there's more, we have a budget bust. If we don't, we save money.
How's that? Is that okay with you? Because since,
Submitting the dates to the town clerk for the calendar
it's automatic,
is a hoop to jump through.
But I don't think we're in a position to plan special meetings or second meetings per month for any 4 months.
Can't really, there's not a lot to fudge.
But submitting this to the town clerk doesn't link to the budget, right? We do that independently and we could just say, okay, all right, so
Sorry.
we can just have these and then we can throw 5 special meetings on for the budgetary purposes, whatever you want to do.
And add as often as you need to.
Right.
perfect. Let's
Okay.
go with this.
All right.
And we will add if we
But
need
the
it.
town clerk really, whatever's on that little thing there, per section,
I know.
they place on a
I know,
calendar.
I know.
So do we have to vote on this, that we're gonna?
Yes, should we
Yes.
vote? Yes. I need a motion to accept the 2023 meeting dates for public school.
I will
Motion accept, Tom Salmino.
Whoa,
I need a second.
whoa.
I'll second it.
I
All
just
in
had to get
favor?
on the record, you know?
That was quick, Tom.
Anybody opposed?
Woke
All
up.
right, so we will accept Lisa's work as submitted. Good. Caveat that, I mean, you guys bring up good points. If we need additional meetings, we can have. I guess it's the first year, this year. No. 2024 maybe, that things really get going. Multiple
Well,
schools.
We'll
end
be
up
busy in the
with things.
summer.
Yeah, I think you're gonna be busy in the summer.
Yeah, but,
Well, if you have Willard rolling along, right?
and I'm judging based on McGee, you know.
Okay.
If things work the way McGee did,
Oh, so one meeting a month was
that
sufficient
was
at that
very
time?
smooth,
Oh, okay.
very smooth.
Now, since this is my first year, do we ever have meetings, like, if we're
At the
doing the
job
school
site?
at the job site?
Yes.
Okay, we do.
We had almost all our meetings at the high school.
Okay.
I mean, we were like.
Reviewing what's going on and,
We had
Construction
a-
trailer.
Yeah, yeah, and we met at the construction trailer, right?
Put our
Or
hard
sometimes we
hats
met
on.
walking around. Everybody had their own hard hat and we looked and we had to see what was going on. But that was extensive. Here, yeah, we'll have a bunch of meetings. My guess is, we'll have a bunch of meetings at the job site. Maybe not.
once the construction starts.
Once it gets going, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need it at the beginning. And a lot of it is just courtesy, or if they find, $28 million worth of gold bullion buried in the ceiling, somebody's gonna have us out and we'll have to take a look at it, but,
And those don't really include me sometimes.
Mhm.
I
Right.
can make it, I put it on paper.
Mhm.
But me physically.
yeah, we
I
don't
don't charge
drag
for
Lisa
that.
around, something like that. But
But that's
to your
just how
point,
it happens.
yeah. In fact, we probably do it more than not. Everybody here, when I first joined this commission, no. Didn't want to do anything. I was here when Jerry was here. When was that? Last century? Serious.
Another,
But since we had a lot of turnover and things changed, Jim and John and people who were in the field, like had construction experience in one way or another, Tom Salmino joined and other people have come and gone, we have a great benefit going out to sea because everybody knows what the hell we're looking at. So you guys especially will, in this project, will absolutely have a lot to add, so.
and along the meeting lines would be the commissioners. And expiring would be Jim Roulette, 131, and Jason. So I
Wait a
happened
minute, you
to,
just came on.
I happened to
Yeah,
print.
it was only for one
He
Oh,
year.
you
He
filled
filled
in.
in.
Oh,
So I happened to print out a blank for you to resubmit
Thank you.
to stay back on again, because
Please don't
you
leave
have
us.
to deal.
Please.
I'm not listening to you. I'm thinking what Mike's thinking,
I know,
especially with this project. I think it'll be a lot of fun. for
that's
you.
what I
I'm not playing.
Good.
just a hoop to jump through to submit to the town clerk to be on to the town council so that you're renewed in time.
When is that by?
End of January.
January 31st, but they only appoint people to commissions attending at the second meetings of their
I'll do it as soon as I can.
month, and the sooner you have it in and ready to go for them to reappoint is.
We'll tell them what else he has to do. You have to submit a 10-page term paper.
Oh,
That was tough.
Yeah,
It's been nice
on the
knowing you.
difference- on the difference between these two cost estimates. Annotations are
Get my
helpful.
red
And
pen out.
I can send Mr. Roulette his.
Yeah, you'll have to send that.
I,
to every
I
time,
do
so.
think my address is wrong in there.
Yeah,
Last
it
time
is.
I was
I noticed that
poking-
today.
poking around.
Great Oak or Victoria Court?
Great Oak.
Speaking of Great Oaks, I got a bunch of.
Yeah,
Great
because
Oaks.
didn't you buy and sell a house early on?
Like the first meeting
Yeah,
that I
exactly.
came to
Yeah, I remember
was the
that.
day
All
I
right.
closed on my house. So I didn't
Yep.
come to any because I wasn't sure if we were staying in Berlin. We ended up staying in Berlin, so,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
yes.
I'm glad you bought the girl.
Okay, I know
My
this
wife
is
goes by
boring
your
for
house,
these
and every
guys.
time she goes by, doesn't Rocco live here?
Yeah,
For the 100th time.
Yeah.
No.
no, not
Moved.
anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
No wonder I never see him anymore. All right, so that was one part of new business. Another part of new business is this,
I'm giving you this, by the way.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Once I can look at it.
I got this
I'm being
email
lazy.
with this attachment. From the Berlin POCD draft of recommended goal strategies and action from Maureen. And
Town
what's-
planner.
Right, the town planner. I wonder, I don't know if she wants official comments from the Public Building Commission or whether she wants individual. It's unclear to me. So I'm going to, with your guys' permission, I'm going to reply that as a commit, if you're looking for comments about this draft 10-year plan from the commission, we have none. We are charged very specifically in the town charter with administering, with obtaining and administering funds for public buildings. And this is nothing to do with any buildings. It's open space. It's what the town wants to do. It's
Commercial property.
commercial properties. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff. So I will say, in the 2 days you gave us, I haven't been, everybody's busy, everybody's working. We haven't had time to review this. They've been working on this for 2 years, 2021, 2022. So I get it. It's big, it's long, you gotta do it. The state requires it. I don't know if the state reads it. I don't know if the state approves it. I have no idea. But what I will say is that if, as citizens of the town, each one of these guys can submit any comments they have individually. But as a commission, we have absolutely nothing to say because it doesn't apply to anything we do. So the input from us would be viewed as superfluous. But input from us as individuals, as taxpayers in the town, is absolutely could be important. And then my only other comment would be, you need a hell of a lot of money to do all this. And where are you going to find it? Because if I were the state and I got this, I'd say, oh, it's very nice, Mr. Berlin. But you're asking for money from the state, looking for grants. How about doing some of your own funding? What are your, they have strategies and goals. Again, I've been through this shit at work for a couple of lousy banks. And this is the kind of stuff that people do. Oh, somebody goes up, gets a suit on, gives a presentation at a meeting, puts it in a file, and nothing happens for 10 years. But they did it. So I don't want to presume that that's the way things are going to go here, but I saw a lot of redundant, repetitious stuff about connecting horse trails and spending other people's money and, oh boy, okay. Whereas if you were going to do this in private industry, somebody would give this back and say, hey, Mike, how are you going to pay for this? This is all great ideas. Show me how you're going to pay for
Or
it.
reach into your pocket.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say it seems very ambitious. That's all. So I'll leave it at that. And then if anybody wants to I'll just shoot her an email.
Right.
Thank you for the opportunity. But in the one day I had to read it, here's my reply. And then if everybody wants to submit stuff, they can, which they're trying to get from the town anyway. So, and I don't know. I mean, I know that this at least this. I think it's more than that. I had a friend who worked at NU before it was whatever Eversource, yeah, and he was on the PNC years ago, and they were doing something like that, like the precursor to this. This gets changed every 10 years, but I don't know if it's ever pulled out. I don't know if the town ever uses it. Charlie ever used this?
You know what? I think it's used for if you are going for grants. I think there's like a requirement. It's got to be in your POCD. So they're throwing everything probably in there.
It's
so
a
that if there's
culture war to make sure that the
Yeah, but
town
if
is-
it's documented in the plan of conservation development, it's actually, it's been identified as a
addressed.
town objective, and you can cite, oh yeah, it's in section 22 of the POCD, and boom, this is what we want to do, and these are the towns.
We
you
had
know,
to do this at
objectives,
banks
whatever.
because if somebody wanted to raise if you wanted to buy another bank and somebody wanted to raise objections to it, they'd say, well, you didn't meet this,
Right.
this is some, BS, redlining or some other just disparate out there state law that you have to ask for, you have to make sure that every year you lend money to 13-year-old girls
Yeah.
who wear big tutus, stuff that nobody follows, but it's, that's on the book, so you have to follow that.
Right. But the
That's
other, I think area where this comes in handy or relevant is if you come in with an application in a certain area of town,
Right.
you want to be compliant with the town's
Yes.
conservation plan of conservation development, or you got to explain yourself.
Right, and
So
what do we have to say on that?
really nothing. It's really
We
for
have
private
nothing.
developers.
It's all private
or-
developers, right, it's for stuff, and they said that equates to Sunday.
The only
Said
one
it
in there
every
is continue to process and design construction improvements to address some identified police department space needs.
Right.
But that's continue to process.
We're already
and design.
doing that.
Yeah.
We got
So
none of
it's
this stuff,
there,
right,
yeah.
so.
I would just offer that since we made copies for everybody,
Oh,
that you take them and
I have
review it.
I'll
Okay,
take that one.
As-
Yeah, so do I.
okay.
And I went through and
It's,
I put a little clock.
It's
for dollars.
informational to see what the town wants.
Yeah,
town
yeah.
planners, charged with.
Right.
just
So if we
parsing
were to
this.
fill this out on our own, not as a committee, who would we give this to?
The
Maureen,
town planner,
the town planner. Oh,
Or
yeah,
you can
it's
send it
on-
to one of us
Or you can,
and we can forward it. Just say, hey,
Just give it to Lisa, and Lisa can just
Yeah,
bring it over.
yeah.
I'll make Lisa work for that.
I like that idea.
but they,
Um, I know, they want
people's input.
everybody's input, but so what I'm saying is,
I'm giving one to my wife. She's gonna be through it.
yeah, that, absolutely. Well,
Yes,
then
no,
take
yes,
an
no.
extra copy. We got plenty here. Anyone else? Some of your neighbors?
they asked me to go yes,
One in everybody's
no, or-
mailbox?
Yeah.
They asked me to go yes, no. or
How about you?
I'll take them.
I don't know.
People
Are
are
these extras?
interested.
These are extras, right?
Yeah,
Right?
they
Yeah.
are.
So
Yeah.
take all of them.
No,
And
I'm good. Yes.
you want to go to a little neighborhood
I already have a
block party?
I already have a walking tail in my backyard.
Okay.
So they asked for a yes and no or a question mark. When I first started doing that, question mark in every one, because of the wording. I said, what the hell does that mean? In
Yeah.
English, please.
Yeah.
I read the
But
first
then-
few pages and I'm like, oh, this is long.
Yeah.
And then
I know it is. Yeah.
I said, what's this gonna take, time or money? Because if I was from the state, I would say, going back to my other
Okay,
days of
just-
business realistic.
Just give it a big, just look at the big picture
Yeah.
and don't, obsess about it or anything.
No.
But they're just looking for
Yeah.
input from Berlin citizens and,
Perfect.
Bear in mind, they've been working on this for 2 years.
and
So it is, quote, comprehensive, but it is very, very redundant. It's a lot of the same thing in different categories. So, now I feel like I did my good deed for the day.
You did.
There's one other thing in new business. Oh, no, we did it already. Sorry. Goes with that. Any old business?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report?
All quiet on the various fronts.
Okay. Sure, your last chance. Truck
Positive.
wash.
Positive.
I missed the truck wash.
There may be a, well, we'll see what happens.
I do think,
We'll see what happens.
Next one.
I missed that truck.
I got to get my guys something, all right? And girls down there, so.
Snow will be here soon, salt on the roads.
Right,
And
before you know it.
the fleet manager's been saying, he sends you pictures of all the rust on the jump bodies, Looks like they have these conveyor belts for the salt, and he's like, the tray's right. He sends me the pictures, he goes, Mike. It's like, okay.
okay, they took their mute off so they can move you to adjourn, I think.
Make a motion.
Make sure you get your evaluation sheet to Lise ASAP.
As long as I get the live Excel form.
You will, as soon as I scuttle back to my office.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If you have any issues,
Thanks, Doug.
fill
Good
this
night.
out.
Have a good night. Take care.
So
You can fill it out.
I do have,
I know.
I do have,
So
What?
Yes.
Good night, all.
Good night,
See you,
Tom.
Tom.
You're still recording, I think. There it is. That's it. The square.